Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican queen, Miss Y. You are tuned into How I See It TV, and this is Why Caught Alive. Please remember to like this video, share the link to my channel if you feel like the content needs some more crowd. Subscribe if you have not done so yet. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, now called X, at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, and I don't have work today, which is why this morning live is late. Plus, I was trying to get all my graphics together so that we can have a good time, because I have some time this morning to chat with y'all. If you are living in Florida and you are evacuating right now, or you are anticipating this hurricane that's out there, I'm praying for your safety. If you know that you should be evacuating, please do so. Don't sit around and say it's Florida. The hurricane might not, hit. Just be on the safe side, okay? And for the rest of you who are not in the path of the hurricane, you have work this morning, whether you're getting dressed right now or you're on your way. Thank you for tuning in. I totally appreciate it. Good morning, Miss Linda Gamble. It's Tate, Miss Sharon, Miss Mary White. Now, Miss Mary, let me know right now if I need the box for your phone. Because I'm about to talk about Mr. King this morning. So let me know right now, Miss Mary, if I need to get the box. Because I'm going to be saying all morning now, Miss Mary, give me your phone. Give me your phone. Oh my God. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. And let's get into it. So I shared yesterday a quick update that Carlos King said that he and Melody Shari are good. But I want y'all to see the video for yourself, and we're going to discuss, okay? We're going to discuss, because I feel like, I don't know, something about his facial expression, something about the wording, I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me. And I guess we can take his words at face value if we want to, but I'm a content creator. So part of creating content sometimes is kind of reaching. So maybe this is a reach. But let's watch that. Not I'll give to you when I'm done addressing. Now, Miss Mary, why you said this? See, I already need to take your phone. From you. So y'all, let's watch this clip together, and then we're gonna talk about body language and word choice. Okay? Let's go.
Carla Hall, hold on. Are you and Melody good? Yes. I don't see why we wouldn't be good. I am great with Melody Shari Rogers. I know there's things that's been floating around on YouTube, and I'm being honest, and this is the perfect time to talk about it. I have been enjoying my life so much that I've seen things being said, and I'm just like, I don't feed into the stuff. But no, we're good. That's my girl. I love her. She's everything. She's a star. I've said it from day one. I have never said anything bad about Melody Shari for us not to be good. She's a star. She's everything. She is Huntsville, honey. She's everything. I've said it multiple times, and I've proved it multiple times. I don't have any issue.
Okay. So, I've always said, are you hearing me? Okay, yes, I see the thing moving now. I've always said that I have issues with people who, when they're saying something that's supposed to be in the affirmative, they nod no, right? And y'all saw him do it in this video, right? He says, I don't have an issue with Melody. And then when he says, me and Melody are good, but he's nodding his head no. I don't know. I always just have an issue with that. And I'm no body language expert. I'm not. But I love watching the body language experts on YouTube. If y'all haven't gotten into that sector of YouTube, y'all need to get into that sector of YouTube and watch some of these body language experts analyze celebrity body language or even reality TV stars. Well, I guess reality TV stars are celebrities too, but politicians' body language, and I love watching that content. And one thing body language experts always say is that you have to be mindful of people who are speaking in the affirmative. So they're telling you, yes, I love you, but they're not in their head, no. Yes, we're good friends, but they're not in their head, no. Yes, me and Melody are good, but he's not in no. What's going on? So I did some research, right? And it says that, and my question was, when someone says something in the affirmative but is nodding no, or saying something in the affirmative but says no first, because if you notice, right, he says, well, no, I love her. He's saying something in the affirmative, but before he says, I love her, he says, no. I don't know. Again, I can be reaching, but I always have a problem with that. I always have a problem with that. So, my research, um, and I'll tell you my source in a second. Body language analytics reveals incongruence between verbal and nonverbal cues when someone firstly says yes while nodding no, or vice versa. Two, uses contradictory words and tones. Example, so, no, yes, all together, like he did in that clip, right? Body language experts, they call this phenomenon mixed signaling, inconsistent communication, or cognitive dissonance. There are possible interpretations. Again, I don't know if this is how he truly feels, but we're just speculating here, right? So, possible interpretations. One, uncertainty or ambivalence. So maybe he's uncertain about his feelings towards Melody. Two, hidden reservations or doubts. He himself doubts whether or not he and Melody has issues, but for the public, he has to make it sound good. Yeah, Melody and I are good, but he's nodding no, right? Conflict between his thoughts and emotions. Four, he's attempting to conceal true feelings. And then it's probably just habit or it's just nervous behavior. So that's just how he talks. He's saying, no, no, I love Melody. Melody and I, we have no issues, but he's not in no. And I'm going to let y'all watch it again so that y'all can see what I'm talking about. Look at your screens. Okay. So remember, what we're looking at is body language. He's saying things in the affirmative, but he's nodding no. And when he talks about loving Melody, he says no first, and then he says, I love her. When he says Melody's a star, she is Huntsville, he's nodding no. So let's look at it again.
Carla Hall, hold on. Are you and Melody good? Yes. I don't see why we wouldn't be good. I am great with Melody Shari Rogers. I don't. I know there's things that's been floating around on YouTube, and I'm being honest, and this is the perfect time to talk about it. I have been enjoying my life so much that I've seen things being said, and I'm just like, I don't feed into the stuff. But no, we're good. That's my girl. I love her. She's everything. She's a star. I've said it from day one. I have never said anything bad about Melody Shari for us not to be good. She's a star. She's everything. She is Huntsville, honey. She's everything. I've said it multiple times, and I've proved it multiple times. I don't have any issue.
So did y'all see that? And it wasn't he said, no, I love her. He says, well, no, we're good. Again, it's a contradiction in my opinion, right? But again, it could be that it's just habit. It could be just a nervous behavior, or it could be uncertainty. It could be hidden reservations or doubt. It could be a conflict between his thoughts and his emotions, or he's attempting to conceal his true feelings, right? So, examples of mixed signaling, inconsistent communication, or cognitive dissonance. When somebody says yes, but they're not in no. This equals conditional agreement or hesitation, right? So if somebody says to you, I love her so much, and they're nodding yes while they're saying that, that is 100% their thoughts and their emotions are one, right? However, if they're saying, yes, I love her, but they're not in no, that is a sign of conditional agreement or hesitation. When he said, and this is just an example, when he said, but no, we're good, right? That is an example of initial hesitation or reevaluation. So while somebody is saying, yes, we're good, their brain is not, their brain isn't following, because their brain has already assessed the situation, and their emotions isn't connecting with what their brain knows to be the truth, if that makes any sense, right? So there are some nonverbal cues to watch when people are not being completely honest, right? Head movements, eye contact, whether it's avoidance or intensity, facial expressions. You got to look for those micro expressions. His face is very animated when he talks. And again, that might just be who he is as a person, right? Hand gestures, fidgeting, palm, face down, scratching their face, scratching their nose, stuff like that. Tone and pitch, and their inconsistencies in that, right? Some verbal cues, a pause or hesitation before responding, and we saw him do that. Using phrases like I think or I mean, yes, we're good. I mean, like what? I guess we're good. What? But no, I don't have an issue. Cues, y'all. Cues. And so on and so forth. So when he said that and I was listening to him, I was like, this, for me, something was not adding up, right? And we talk about the word disingenuous a lot, right? Which means someone is not being sincere, someone is not being genuine, or somebody's being fake or hypocritical, lacking authenticity or truthfulness, right? Um, when it comes to like sociology and social interactions, the word means that somebody is misrepresenting facts or intentions. Misrepresenting facts or intentions. They're hiding their true motives or feelings, and or pretending to have a certain opinion or belief or manipulating others through deception, right? So when we hear Carlos say, well, I have never said anything bad about Melody, right? Those were his words. I've never said anything bad about Melody. Could this be considered a little bit disingenuous? My answer, and these are just my opinions, my answer is yes. It can be considered disingenuous, right? Because to claim you've never said anything bad about someone when your actions or your behaviors towards them, in my opinion, have been harmful or negative, and you've made indirect or some veiled critique about them, um you've probably, in my opinion, he shared certain narratives that indirectly or directly would impact Melody negatively, or he's avoided addressing harmful or toxic behaviors towards Melody. He is leaving out a lot of context, and I feel like he's not understanding that it's more nuanced than saying, oh, I've never said anything bad about her, right? Now, when we look at how he still has Martell as part of the cast of Love Marriage Huntsville, even after Martell was arrested, he's now convicted of DV in the third. Melody herself has told Carlos on several occasions that Martell should not be on the show. She told Carlos that they are funding the what was the words that she used? Oh, somebody remind me. Oh my god, I forgot. Just that quickly. Funding the chaos. I don't think those are exact words, but within the realm of that, right? And Carlos sat there and he said, oh, I didn't know. Well, if you didn't know, which we know that's not the truth, if you didn't know, well, now you know. So what are you going to do about it? And then we saw that Martell was still filming, right? Funding the chaos. Oh, so I was right. Thank you, Miss Linda. Thank you, Miss Mary. Right? And then we've seen him as the executive producer, right? He has sat on his Messy Mondays with Heavenly, and he has said some things towards Melody's fan base, right? And as the executive producer of Love Marriage Huntsville, she said, it's my show, right? I feel like he has allowed this negative storyline and this attack on the millimeters when some of the things that Melody's fan base was being blamed for had nothing to do with us. People calling the city on black had nothing to do with Melody's fan base. Tisha and Destiny sitting in a scene talking about, oh, I didn't go to the podcast event because I didn't want to deal with the millimeters, when we found out that their scene was filmed in February, weeks after the podcast event. And the truth was that they were probably in some contractual negotiations, which is why they didn't go to the event. So this narrative and this storyline is out there that the millimeters and Melody's fans are just so, unhinged, and this is why the cast didn't want to come around. And this is why the Scott's business is being impacted. And then we're finding out that those things aren't the truth, right? And Carlos, as the executive producer, in my opinion, he allowed that. So that is where it comes in that he was a little bit disingenuous when he said he's never said anything negative about Melody Shari. Martell's continued casting, despite his conviction, Melody's expressed concerns, which, as the executive producer, Carlos, in my opinion, didn't address and is still not addressing. Carlos comments about Melody's fan base. He criticized her fans, and that has created some tension. Let's be clear. And then the storyline of attacking Melody's fan base. In my opinion, Carlos allowed this despite knowing that it was unfounded. So by saying there's no issue solely because he hasn't directly criticized the Melody, Carlos, in my opinion, he is downplaying some legitimate concerns. He's ignoring his own actions that's contributing to tension within the Love and Marriage Huntsville fan base. And he's dismissing Melody's feelings because we know Melody does not want to film with Martell and does not feel like Martell should be rewarded with still being on the show. He is omitting context, and it's a little bit of what I would call selective presentation of the facts, right? And this selective presentation of the facts is a little bit like gaslighting. Like, are we crazy? Because that's what gaslighting essentially means. It's a phenomenon of someone making you feel like your reality is not reality. So you're questioning your sanity. So, and he's like, I don't have an issue with Melody because I've never said anything negative about her. Am I crazy? Because I've listened to Messy Mondays, and you probably did not say anything negative about her directly, but you nodded and keyed and laughed in agreement with some of the things that Heavenly was saying. You made negative comments about her fan base, and you aren't addressing the issue of Martell Holt still being on the show. It's deflection as well. So let's not focus on your actions, focus on my words. Have you ever heard me say anything negative about her? Well, maybe not directly. So then what are we talking about? That's basically what he did, deflection. And that's a little bit of a manipulation too, because people who don't know what's going on, people who don't watch Love and Marriage Huntsville per se, but are fans of Carlos King, people who didn't see the podcast, episode, people who don't follow Melody outside of the show, so they don't know the things that she has said on her social media platforms, then they're going to believe Carlos's version of the story. So that's manipulation. And of course, he is not going to say things like, Melody and I, we have creative differences, particularly regarding Martell's casting or Martell still being on the show. Of course, he's not going to say that, right? He's not going to say, listen, y'all, with everything that's happening within on Love and Marriage Huntsville, on the show or off the show, there are just certain things that I can't talk about. But trust me, I'm hearing everything. I understand some of the concerns, and moving forward, I'm going to reconsider some things. Of course, he's not going to say that because he wants to be right. Carlos also likes mess. He does. Like, let's be honest. He likes mess. He likes to pretend that he doesn't like it. But Destiny and Sunny storyline, mess. Trish and Ken, Trish, Ken, Marquez, Martell of it all, mess. It's all messy. It's messy boots. you know? And I have seen Carlos under certain posts where he's liking certain things. I've I've seen, blogs post about Melody, like OMFG reality, right? He's always under their post. And I've seen them post Melody. And I've never seen Carlos like or leave a comment. But every time there's something posted about Stormy Child, you know who is under OMFGs in the comments, leaving heart eyes and emojis? Guess who? Now, again, I could be reading into things, but I don't think so. I feel like I'm very on point when it comes to my observation of certain things, right? With how he talks about how, oh, he supports Porsche and he supported Yandy when they went to when their products got into what was the store? Was it Neiman Marcus? It was one of those stores, or Dillard's, one of those stores. Yandy and Portia's products is in. And he went and he supported them. I've heard him talk about how he wants Destiny's products. I've heard about him talk about Stormy's products, but I've not heard him say much about Seventh Avenue Beauty, if he's using any of the products, if he wants any of the products, even if it's to be funny. Like, I have not heard him say anything down those lines. And so now he wants us to just believe that everything is just 100% perfect between him and Melody. Like, I don't know. I'm not buying that. Maybe they've had a conversation. Who knows? He's big on Bloomingdale's. Thank you, Miss Linda. Bloomingdale's. Yandy, what's her name? Yandy and Portia. They have Yandy, I think, has a skincare line or something like that in Bloomingdale's, and I know Portia has her sheets or whatever. Or was it candles? I think it's candles, skincare, or something Yandy has, and Portia has sheets. And we saw Destiny after she was arrested. She got all dolled up and drove to Atlanta, child, to make sure that she had a photo op with Yandy and Portia, right? And Carlos King was there. So he's out here supporting all these other reality TV stars. He talks about Stormy's brand and he talks about Destiny's brand. And no shade to you, Destiny, but I think what he was trying to do when he was bigging up Destiny's perfume was he was trying to make what Destiny was doing seem bigger than what it was. He was probably trying to help to promote her, and that's fine, right? But you have the star of your show who has been talking about her products since season 1. She had to dissolve Embrace and she had to start all over. Now it's 7th Avenue and she's doing big things, and we don't hear Carlos talk about it. I've said this. Outside of what I feel about Stormy when it comes to the breakdown in the relationship with Melody, outside of how I feel like she moves when it comes to the show, Stormy and Melody as reality TV stars are the only ones who we see making these big moves when it comes to TikTok. I've called it out. I haven't seen Kenya Moore do no TikTok shop. And Kenya has a bigger fan base, well, on social media, bigger than Melody, bigger than Stormy. She has curated that fan base for what, 15 years, even more, because she was, a pageant queen. So why is Kenya not on the TikTok shop doing millions in sales? I would think that she would be perfect. Portia too, with her sheets. She could be on the TikTok shop. Why haven't we seen that? Karen Huger, she has candles and perfume. Why haven't we seen her on the TikTok shop? But we have these two women who are on a smaller platform that is the OWN network. Because let's be clear, NBC Universal, it is a bigger network than OWN. Love and Marriage Huntsville, in comparison to the Real Housewives franchise, is smaller. It's smaller in terms of viewership, and it's smaller in terms of the fan base. But these two women from Huntsville, Alabama, they are making waves on TikTok. And that's not being pushed by their executive producer. Like, let's be clear, as bad as Andy Cohen is in some regards, one thing he's going to do is hype his girls up if they're doing great things. People feel like, oh my God, Andy doesn't like Candace. But guess what? Andy's going to talk about Drive Back every single time he can. He's going to be singing Kenya Moore Hair Care every single time he can. And it's possibly too because, you know, for some of these girls, if they are featuring their brands on Real Housewives, then, you know, Bravo gets a cut. But he still talks about his girls and what they got going on. Carlos talks more about the Real Housewives and what they have going on than he does his cast. And if someone doesn't bring it up, he's not going to bring it up. Let me read y'all's comments. Yeah, he was. In my opinion, Miss Linda, he was lying. I don't think that he and Melody are good. I don't. I don't think that they're good. There he goes, lying on Mel. Mel is done with this hamster has painted on, not painted on here. You think his hairline is painted on? Oh my God. Good morning, all things possible. He's trying to kiss up to Mel because he knows she's probably leaving the show and starting her own. Man, that's wishful thinking, Miss Mary. And wishful thinking in a good way, you know. I would love for that to be the case, but something tells me it's not. That's not where they are. Because I'm like, who told people that Love and Marriage Huntsville was canceled? And that then people were getting a spin-off? Because a network, in my opinion, isn't just going to get up and buy episodes to a spin-off if they're looking at the analytics. And I'm talking about analytics of viewership and also social media analytics. And social media analytics would tell OWN that the Scots aren't who they should bank on in terms of a spin-off. They don't have majority of the fan base. In fact, when the Scots are featured on Love and Marriage Huntsville, when they're the only ones featured, they get even further in a dip when it comes to viewership. So why would OWN, who is in the business of making money, order episodes about the Scots who haven't given us any major storyline in the 8 seasons that they've been on this show? The Scots whose storylines have always been attached to whatever is happening with Melody and Martell. That makes no sense to me. Now, if I'm wrong and I hear OWN announce a Scott 2.0, 1.0 spinoff, let me tell you, I will eat crow because I do not see that happening. The show could probably be canceled, absolutely. Who knows? The ratings have been low and these networks want to make money. The sponsors aren't buying into a show that's not making money. So yeah, it could probably be canceled. But even if the show is being canceled, I feel like Owen would be in talks with Melody to have her own spin-off. It's the same thing with Real Housewives of Potomac. They looked at the analytics and they felt like Karen was the fan favorite. That's what they thought, right? So they gave her a special. That special did not have a lot of viewers. So that special did not become a spin-off. It didn't become a spin-off. You look at NBC, Bravo, NBC Universal. They gave Portia a spin-off, but it only had one season because it was a mess. And even though they had a few episodes that was good, it was still a mess, so that was not renewed. So networks are looking at the people who they feel are the fan favorites. And I know that the people at OWN are not dumb enough to think that the Scots are some fan favorites. And essentially, I want to ask the people who feel like the Scots are getting a spin-off, what's going to happen to y'all's faves? I'm talking to the mellow haters, right? Because some of y'all like Destiny. If the Scots are getting a spin-off, then Destiny is going to be out of a job. Melody is going to be fine. Stormy is going to be fine. But what's going to happen to y'all's fave Destiny? She's going to be out of a job if Tisha doesn't, pull her into, the show or something as a friend of. But that's not a lot of money, especially for a show that's doing its first season. What's going to happen to y'all's, the mellow haters? What's going to happen to Martell? He's not going to have no job. Melody has her own production company and her own network. She can always produce a show for herself and put it on Nubian. But some of y'all's faves are going to be out of a job. So I don't think when y'all came up with that lie, mellow haters, when y'all came up with that lie that, oh, Love Marriage Huntsville is canceled and the Scots are getting a spin-off, I don't think y'all thought that lie through, because that would mean that Destiny and Martell would be out of work. They wouldn't be making any money from being on TV. And it seems to me that they are the main two that are in financial strains right now, in my opinion. In so many ways, Mel addressed him by saying she's never seen a producer so unprofessional and speak on his cast. Or exactly. And that's what I said, Mary. Why? I'm like, am I crazy? Because after that, Mel made her position very clear. But again, that's the manipulations with words, because he's saying, well, no, because he says Melody and I are good. So he still said they both are good. But I don't know. Again, unless they've had a conversation behind the scenes that we are still not privy to, then I don't know how they'd be good. Every time Mel's name is mentioned, he scowls, frowns, and shakes. Because when he read that comment, he looked, you saw the face he made when he read the comment, and that could have been towards the comment in and of itself, or it could just be, oh my God, they're asking me about Melody. I don't want to talk about her, but since it's a super chat, I have to. Like, that could have also been like his thought process. He looks stressed. I mean, he was trying to fake cry and everything. On that live, I guess he broke up, he and the African, this imaginary African that we have never even seen a shoulder of or anything. They broke up. And, he looked sad about it. And that's another thing. I think Carlos feels like if he's not the one who said it, then that makes him, it means that he doesn't have to take accountability. But at the end of the day, the things are being said on his platform, and he's laughing, and he's gagged, and he's falling out of his chair, and he's asking the person to repeat the foolishness that they said. And he's not saying, yeah, don't say that, I don't agree, da 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 da. He's not saying any of that. So it's like, you should be accountable for the things that are being said. You should take some responsibility for sitting and having someone talk about your cast in the way that they do. But it would take a level of maturity to actually consider that, I guess. What's coming out of his mouth is not what his facial expressions is conveying. His facial expressions not conveying it, and then the way he's nodding his head is not conveying it either, Miss Sharon. It's Katie. Let me tell you, I told Miss Mary at the start of the live that I am going to get the box for her phone. She is cutting up in here. In my opinion, Chipmunk Kang is about to lose his jobs and all of his shows might be canceled, allegedly. He seemed to like he was going through it. He was in like a dark place, and he had to go to Paris to, get back to his center. He was looking at his podcast mic for like 20 minutes and he didn't know what to say. I'm like, what is going on? And it could be the breakup for an African that we have never seen, or it could just be there's some things going on with his shows. I mean, obviously there's some things going on with the shows, because why didn't Love Marriage Huntsville go on a break just to come back to go on another break? Like, that is crazy to me. I've never seen any other reality TV show do this. But he said that he is not in control of scheduling, and that is the truth. OWN is a separate entity from Kingdom Reign Entertainment, right? OWN is its own entity. So they have somebody who is director over programming. And this person works with their team to figure out scheduling. The thing could be that because the ratings are so low for Love and Marriage Huntsville and for some of these other shows that Carlos has on OWN, they're trying to figure out if they should change the time slot, if maybe being on a break will make the people miss the show enough where when it comes back, the ratings will be higher. Like, I don't know the mindset, but I don't think that Carlos has anything to do with programming at all. He produces the show. They say, okay, we wanna order 15 episodes, 20 episodes. If it's good, they might say 25 episodes. And then they figure out where to slate, what time slot the show should have for each season. I'm just saying. Hey, Toot. Hi, Miss Kathy. How are you? Hi, TNTG Mom. Okay, I'm going down. Right. Exactly, Toot. Toot says, exactly. Complicity is the downfall of integrity. And as our grandparents would probably say back in the day, silence means consent, is something that I used to hear my grandmother say. Let's go into some other clips. And I tried to make the clips as short as possible because I know y'all want to hear his voice. So let's get into this supposed person who apologized to Carlos Not last night. Last night was what, Tuesday night? So Monday night. So let's get into this. Which clip is number one? Is it
I'm gonna
this
say
one?
this. I'm gonna do an announcement. Then I'm gonna get to the recap. Somebody y'all think have a problem with me. I saw yesterday. Come here. Let me give y'all some tea. Because I'm gonna tell y'all what happens in real life. Okay, Jacob settles. I love you, Jacob. Thanks for attending Reality with the King Monday edition. Because Mr. Mondays is back. Okay. All right. Okay, lovely. Say their name, honey. Yes. Beyonce style. Okay. All I'm going to say is I saw somebody yesterday who I know said some things about me. Uh-huh. I saw them yesterday.
So not on Monday night, Sunday night. So when he said this, I was like, who has been out here talking about Carlos in the media, on social media, like publicly? Only two people that I know of have been talking about Carlos publicly. And that's Dr. Shanita Foster and Melody Shari Rogers. Hi, love Key. Drive safe. Only two people, right? Have y'all heard anybody else give any commentary on Carlos, like within the realm of celebrities? Who have we heard? And I'm sure that if there was multiple celebrities out here dragging Carlos King on social media, we would have known about it. Because as content creators, we would have been covering it. Would have been like, oh, this celebrity is on their TikTok dragging Carlos King for filth. This celebrity is on Instagram dragging Carlos for filth. It would be covered, especially in the Love Marriage Huntsville sector. We would be covering it. So when he said that, I was like, somebody who we think has a problem with him? I only know of two people. I only know of Melody, and I only know of Shanita. So he saw them on Sunday night in Atlanta. Now, Melody hasn't been posting, so we had no clue where Melody has been. Melody could have been in Atlanta on Sunday night. Who knows? Okay. Melody loves a good concert as much as the rest of us. And it was a good lineup at that concert in Atlanta on Sunday night. Now, I don't know if he saw this person at a concert, but the only person who has said anything about Carlos, which would sound like they have a problem with him, and the only person who admittedly said that they were going to see him soon and they were going to have a talk with him, the only person that I can pinpoint is Dr. Shanita. Now, there might be somebody else that we don't know of, but I cannot even think who that other person could be. So, anyways, he continues. And I hated the faces that he was making. Like, he felt so full of himself. Like, he felt like, oh, he's been vindicated in some ways. But anyways, let's continue. I did not label these things well.
And this is me. And they were like, what's up? I heard you, me, because I'm from Detroit. So I'm a little confrontational, but I'm not confronting an issue. I said, you got a problem with me? What's up? Well, I said, I called you. You called me? I said, I called you because I saw that you sent me something. And I'm like, let's talk about it. I have no problems talking about anything. If you have an issue with me, talk to me. Long story short, this person said to me, and this is verbatim.
Okay. Again, fake. Fake, because why you faking nice? You saw him, he's like, I was like, and waving and grinning, like fake. But let's continue. Yes, it's the theatrics for me. It was all of it that was just so annoying. But let's finish hearing what he had to say about this encounter, right? Where's the last clip?
I know what it is. So I said, that's why I called you, because I said, what's tea? Like, I don't have what's going on? So I want, and again, because I have integrity, I'm not gonna say who it is because that's that person's story to tell if they choose to tell it. And the thing is, they may never tell it, and that's fine. I don't need the approval of the audience. I don't operate that way. If you love me, I love you. If you hate me, I love you anyway. I don't operate for the approval of people. So that was a conversation I had last night. The only reason why I'm not saying their name is because that's their business. If they don't ever choose to talk about it, then I'm cool with that. Because I know that sometimes, and I'm gonna end with this. I know that sometimes people perpetuating they have a beef with Carlos works for them. It works for them. And when Carlos calls them, like, hey, what's going on? And whatever happens, happens. Or we have a great conversation behind the scenes, and they never tell y'all, I spoke to Carlos, child, and we good, low key. We laugh and joke. I know that sometimes having love for Carlos doesn't work for certain things, okay? Because it doesn't create stories. Because
Okay. He was so full of it. Carlos is so full of himself. He is just so full of it. Like, oh, I can't with him. Because one, in my opinion, he gave so many clues as to who this person could be that he didn't even have to say the name. And obviously, he wants some, public approval, which is why he's even bringing the conversation up. And to put it out there that, it doesn't work for some people to say that they don't have beef with Carlos or whatever the case may be. It's like, how many people have come out here to say they got beef with you? Candy is one of the only people who have come out to say she don't rock with you because you went behind her back to do her escapes what do they call that, the biopic. And let's be clear, technically he wasn't stealing. Technically he was not stealing, because so many producers have done unauthorized biopics. But when you think about it, it was the principle. You are sharing an office space with this lady and her husband. You and her husband are working on a TV show together. You know her. You are in close proximity to her, where you could call her up and say, I am interested in doing this biopic on Escape. I've been approached to do it. They got the money. Since we work close together, what do you think? It was the principle of it. Yes, it's not stealing their life story, because as I said, there are many unauthorized um movies about many singers and actors and all of that. You can do that, right? There are many documentaries about celebrities that was not authorized. Legally, he can do that, which is why, which is why, which is why when when this whole story broke on House of Aaron, when Candice did that interview, and he said, "Oh, I'm not a thief. Why do I wouldn't have to steal anything or whatever." That was him once again doing his deflecting and manipulation using words, because technically he didn't steal anything. That's the truth of the matter, right? Industry standards, industry practice, he wasn't stealing anything. But the principle is, if you know this woman, you're in close proximity to her, you can pick up the phone and call her. It's not like me, child. I don't know Candy Boris. I have no connections to Candy Boris. So if I wanted to do a documentary on Candy, I would definitely go ahead and do an unauthorized documentary, because I don't know this lady, right? But if I could pick up the phone and call her and say, "Hey girl, what's good? How's the kids? How's your mom? How's everybody? Girl, let's meet up for lunch. I gotta talk to you about something." If I could do that, then I would do that. I would do that. To go behind her back and you're calling her mom and you're calling other people in her life instead of just telling her what you were up to, that was some shisty, nasty work. It was. And he's never addressed that part of it. He's never addressed the principle of the situation. He's only addressed all the semantics. Oh, I would never have to steal. Okay, we get it. Industry standards. You didn't steal. But how you moved was some nasty work. Point blank, period. So here he goes. He's given all the clues as to who it could be, right? Oh, did I play the part where where he says the person talks about the fans? Let me see.
And this is me. I know what it is. Y'all don't like the truth. Y'all think like Jacob settles. I'm not gonna tell y'all it was number one or number two, because I don't want y'all to tell Carla Hall. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna do an announcement. Then I'm gonna get to the recap.
The clip, y'all. But anyways, he basically said that the person claimed that the fans. So again, context clues, right? The first one was someone we think has a huge problem with him. He saw them on Sunday night. The only person we know of that has a problem or said they had a problem with Carlos and was going to see him soon was Shanita. All right. So he saw the person on Sunday night, somebody who we feel has a problem with him. Two, the person says that the fans sent them something saying Carlos is talking badly about you. Now, there is no celebrities that we know of that's attached to the Bell Collective. There is no celebrity or anyone attached to any of Carlos's shows where outside of Love Marriage Huntsville, right? So we got Dr. Heavenly, we have Shanita. Who else do we have? That's about it, right? That's about it. So we can say it's not heavenly. We can say that for sure. So who else would it be? So then the president threw the fans under the bus because here's the truth. Okay? Here's the truth. Let's say he was being funny when he said, "Oh, I know Shanita. Shanita doesn't, there's not a camera anywhere that Shanita doesn't love." Okay, let's say that was funny. Let's say that was funny. Fine. And you went and you watched that. You watched the episode for yourself and you felt like that was funny. That was some fun shade. Okay, fine. But was the part where Heavenly was calling you all kinds of bees and all kinds of ugly and all of that was, and Carlos was, was that part not disrespectful? Was that part not him, as Toot said, being complicit in somebody talking about you badly and not checking them on the spot? Like, yeah, let's not talk about our black women like that. Let's not call another woman a B word. When Heavenly sat on Messy Mondays and offered up Shanita's body to her friend's ex-husband, and Heavenly said that with a straight face, like, "Oh, Martell would love to climb that tree." And Shanita should probably get with Martell, since everybody in Huntsville is getting with each other. When she offered up this woman's body to Martell, and Carlos didn't say, "Yeah, let's move on." Heavenly, I love you, girl, but you just be saying some things that I can't get with. But he's like, and he's laughing at things like that. How about you check him on that then? You said, "Well, I watched, and what I saw was somebody who knows me, who knows the work that I'm out here doing, sitting and allowing their co-hosts to call me out of my name, to offer up my body to a man who's out here doing wicked stuff to my friend." And what I also saw was somebody who knows me not telling the people who I am outside of me agreeing to go on this trip to support my friend. I'm educated. I've been the tourism ambassador for Zimbabwe. I work with the United Nations. I am a philanthropist and I'm a business coach. I am more than being on, NFL wives, football wives back in the day. I can think for myself. I didn't need Melody to tell me anything about those people to have formed the opinions that I did when I met them on that trip. I'm nobody's B word. And for you to sit there and allow somebody to speak about me in such a disparaging manner, yeah, I can't rock with that. And I feel like you should apologize to me, Carlos. Like, if the person who he claims apologized to him was indeed Dr. Shanita, then I'm disappointed, because I feel like, Shanita, you would have been well within your right to feel like even if he didn't drag you, he sat there and laughed as another Black woman was dragging you for filth, calling you out your name. calling you Chiquita, calling you a B, offering up your body to Marta. And Carlos sat there and he giggled. In the same way, he sat there and giggled when Heavenly was dragging Sweet Tea and still hasn't apologized for that. Still hasn't apologized for that. So I hope that it wasn't Shanita, because you didn't have anything to apologize for. He was wrong. Not everything is a joke. And this is the problem that I have with Carlos. When he said about what he said about Sweet Tea, oh, she should have put some eggs and some babies on her vision board. And he felt like Sweet Tea shouldn't have been mad at that because it was just a kiki. No, that was a disgusting thing to say about a woman who is sharing that she is having fertility issues. Not everything is funny, and not because you think it's funny means that the person who is the victim of your joke also must feel like it's funny. And that's a problem that Carlos has, and that's a problem I have with him. That he just feels like, oh, I'm just throwing shade. It's fun shade. It's cake. It's a cake. No, it's disrespect. It's disrespect that you are covering up as jokes. And your good Judy Heavenly says, you got to pay attention to what people say are jokes, because there's a lot of truths that's hidden behind the facade of, oh, I'm just joking. So I hope, as I said, I hope it wasn't Shanita who was down there on Sunday night apologizing to him, because there was no need for an apology. Carlos allowed some nasty things to be said about you on his platform. And he was in agreement because he was gagging, he was laughing, he was having a whole jolly time as certain things were being said about you. And he should own that. He should own that he needs to do better on his platform when he's giving commentary about his shows. He needs to understand that there's a thin line between being funny and being disrespectful, and he needs to find a better balance. There are some things that are indeed fun shade, but there are other things that are just nasty words. And you should have, if it was indeed you, Shanita, you should have made him understand that. That at the end of the day, he is a man speaking in certain ways about women. And I'm not surprised that Messy Mondays is on a break. Because at the end of the day, Heavenly didn't want to be covering Love Marriage Huntsville and Love Marriage Detroit. What she wanted was to sit up on her platform and drag her castmates on Married to Medicine. That's what she wanted to do. And she wanted Carlos to help her to do it. She didn't sign up to be over there reviewing his shows. Heavenly is selfish. She's selfish, in my opinion. I feel like Heavenly was annoyed that she had to give up 2 hours of her Monday evenings to talk about shows that she's not even watching. And it's clear that she isn't watching the shows or following anything happening on these shows outside of what Carlos is telling her. I feel like they go on a call or they talk backstage in StreamYard, or they maybe have a phone conversation on Mondays, and she's like, I'm not gonna lie, Carlos, I didn't even watch the show. What happened? And he gives her the the play-by-play from his perspective. And then she sits on Messy Mondays and she gives her opinions based on what information Carlos gave her. Heavenly was not invested in talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville. She wasn't invested in talking about any of Carlos's shows. What Heavenly was invested in is talking about Married to Medicine. Heavenly was using Carlos as much as Carlos was using her. But I feel like Heavenly won. Because she had him talking about Married to Medicine for the whole season. And she could not even last the entire season of Love and Marriage Huntsville. She only talked about Love and Marriage Detroit one time, and then they're now on a break. That's wild. That is wild to me, y'all. But that's what users do. They use you and then they dispose of you. He is very obvious. Hi Jeanette. He is very obvious, all things possible. Not I can't stand looking at this much. I'm not playing any more clips for y'all. He's only saying that, yeah, he did want because he wants us to sit and be out here thinking like we're doing right now, who in the world is he talking about? And then he's like, I'm not going to say their name because I have integrity. Well, if you really had integrity, then you wouldn't have even brought it up for people to be out here speculating and throwing out names. That would have shown more integrity. Now, if you didn't want approval from the audience, then you wouldn't have cared for us to know that somebody apologized to you, sir. But you wanted us to know that, oh, I got an apology that you didn't deserve, in my opinion, because somebody felt like you were talking badly about them. Their initial feelings is the one that they should have gone with. He's only saying that so that the powers that be in ATL ease up off of him. You think so too? Because truth be told, somebody already exposed that he wasn't with the African anymore. Like a few weeks ago, that was already exposed. And he came out here acting like he was telling us something that wasn't hot on the press. On the press is a few weeks ago. We already knew this. People were saying that they have never seen him in any store. The who's in Atlanta are the people who live in the areas where the who's of Atlanta lives. So they've never seen him down to any Targets, any supermarkets with anybody by his side. So they don't even know if the African was a real thing. But child, he would be going through some mental stuff if he was really out here telling us he was dating somebody that never existed in the first place. Because Heavenly and Carlos were supposed to be such good friends, and Heavenly has never even met the African, never even seen him. So that to me says a lot right there. He tried to get information from her mom. Yeah, that was trifling. And then he wanted to use semantics. I don't have to steal from anybody. Yeah, technically you didn't steal, but how you operated was just not okay. And then he's like, the people who y'all think still have beef with me, it's more beneficial to them for y'all to think that they're still beefing with me. Who else are you beefing with? Like, I would really like to know. Who are the other people out here that you got beef with outside of Candy? Who else? Because are you trying to tell us that you and Candy have had a discussion behind the scenes and now y'all are good? Is like that? Because, child, I would love to hear Candy's version of events. Let me hear Candy's side. Are y'all still good? Well, are y'all good now? Because he's putting it out there like he has just all these celebrities who got beef with him, and I'm trying to figure out who are the other people. I know Sweet Tea not effing with him, so that's one. I don't know about Candy. Maybe they did have a behind the scenes conversation, but I feel like Candy, how Candy operates, she gives me the type of person who would have said, Carlos and I, we had a conversation and, we kind of cleared the air. He apologized for some things and how he moved, and now we're good. I feel like Candy would have said that. Melody also gives the type of energy of, I had to have a conversation, or Carlos and I had a conversation, and he's understanding my position on some things, and we're working through some stuff. That's the energy that Melody also gives. Who are these other celebrities that he got issues with? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know anybody else or know of anybody else. He sure isn't the king of reality because he's not original with his ideas. He's allegedly. I haven't heard much from those young women who had come out to say that they had pitched the idea for Messy Mondays to him. I haven't heard much from them since they came out blasting him. So, or maybe he's talking about them too. He had a conversation with them, and now things have been cleared up and things are good. I'm just saying, who are these other people, Carlos? I heard somebody say yesterday that Giselle Bryant and the Scotts are similar in that Giselle is going to utilize everybody else's storyline, or she's going to hide behind everybody else's storyline so she does not have to talk about herself. And the Scotts do the same thing. And the content creator was saying that it's so funny that Giselle is one of Carlos's favorites on Real Housewives of Potomac, in the same way that it seems like the Scotts are, he protects them on Love Marriage Huntsville. And I have to agree because, again, in the 8 or so years that we have been introduced to the Scotts, we haven't really been able to dive deep into their storylines. Like, we know more than we need to know about Melody and Martel. We know more than we need to know. That's how much they dived into their storyline. What do we know about the Scotts? They have always made statements to like, oh, we went through some things in the early part of our marriage. Marsau talking about, he was at that cliff but he didn't jump. Like, what are we talking about? And why is it that they're saying these things in scenes, but the producers in the confessionals aren't asking them follow-up questions? Like, Marsau, what cliff were you on, but you didn't take the dive? You're saying to Martel that you were in the same place that he was, but you made a different choice. What place was that? I was so curious as to why the producers didn't ask Marsau follow-up questions based on that scene with Martel. And in season 1, when they talked about going through some things in the early parts of their marriage, why did the producers ask them some follow-up questions in the confessionals? Why are they being allowed to just skate by like that? And we're about to go to the reunion, and I don't think that it's going to be brought up. Like, Marsau, when you were in that scene with Martel, you told him that you were in the same position that he was in. What were you talking about? What were you talking about? Are you saying that you and Tisha almost got a divorce and y'all, didn't go through with it? because that was the context of the scene. That was the context of the scene. Am I wrong, y'all? Somebody tell me. Nah, Miss Mary, give me your phone. I'm taking your phone, Miss Mary. It is now in a box. And I know you got another one. I'm about to take that one too. What t-shirts is he promoting? Let me go see. Let me go see. TNTG, mom. I don't think I'm blocked on my main Instagram. Is he promoting them on Instagram or Facebook? Because I'm not on Facebook. So I will not be able to see that if it's on Facebook. All right, I'm pulling it up. Marcel. Profile. Ooh, I don't see any t-shirts on his Instagram. Oh, all right, let me go to black. Nope, no t-shirts over here either. I don't see any t-shirts on the black page. You gotta tell me what t-shirts they're over there selling. TNTG, mom. Truth says, I really try not to look at anything the deplorable Scots have going on. As for Dr. Devley, she needs to shut up and get those loose edges like Wonders fitted and Miss Mary, where'd you find the other phone? I believe it was Shanita. Shanita said herself she saw the video of him and Emily talking. CK laughed at every derogatory thing that lady said. Basically, right. Basically a cosign. Basically a cosign. You can't say that you have love for me and then sit and laugh at somebody disrespecting me. That's just how I see it. If you're my friend or we are cordial and I have to watch you sit in the presence of somebody who is disrespecting me and I don't hear you defend me or say to the person, yeah, don't talk like that about her around me, then that says a lot about your character. What are the people saying? She's at home. I understand. Oh my God, these people are still trying to pit Neka and Wendy against each other. That's so crazy. Let me read your other comments. He did say that Marcel did say he don't want anything, the millimeters to support anything he has going on. I told y'all when I was at Mimosas with Melody, I walked up to him and I said, so since you don't want the millimeters to support you don't want millimeters to support you, where should we go for the after party? And he said, I didn't say that. He said, I didn't say that. I was only talking about the deplorables. Well, I thought you were saying that the deplorables were the millimeters. So he didn't mean that. Marcel just be talking to just hear himself talk. And that's And he is the perfect example of his own words. He just be throwing things against the wall to see what's going to stick, child. And to me, it's like if he says, right? If he says something that is just crazy and people go up for it, then that is what he is going to stick to. But, or he just be just saying anything for social media. He likes shock value. He likes to shock people. And he could perhaps be a decent person, but I don't know. From how he behaves on social media, I can't tell. I can't tell if he's actually a decent guy. The way he talks to his wife on the show, I can't tell if he's a decent guy. I really can't. Hi, Anitra. I don't have mods yet. I need to figure that out one day. But yeah, he did say he didn't want us to buy anything from him. There was more to that conversation, and CK will never tell the whole story. Yeah, I feel like she probably clocked him, and he offered up some apologies. And maybe after he offered up some apologies, she might have said, or the person might have said, you know what? I probably should have reached out to you first. And so I apologize for that. I could see that being more of what happened than the version that he told us on Missy Mondays. Well, Mr. Mondays. Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't. That would have been too easy to just backpedal so quickly, like, oh no, I don't have a problem with you. It's just the fans said XYZ and I believed it, and then I don't think that's how the conversation went. I don't think that's how the conversation went. He's on a break because Owen probably warned his messy tail about speaking in a negative way. I don't know if that's actually what happened. I feel like Heavenly was just over it. She was never interested in reviewing all these shows. And I think Heavenly was fishing to find another co-host to discuss Married to Medicine with. And let me tell you why. So recently, Heavenly did these lives on her Patreon, right? Where she had all these different content creators join her to discuss like different topics. And I feel like that was an audition. She was auditioning people. She had Rodney the Voice. She had Scotty by Nature TV. She even had Candace. She had so many different content creators come on, and celebrities too, come on to talk about hot topics. And I think that Heavenly was auditioning for the new season of Married to Medicine to see who her co-host would be to recap each episode. That's what I think. That's what I think was happening. She was trying to get out of reviewing the show with Carlos, and she was auditioning new people, seeing whose vibe fit with hers, who she could probably manipulate and, you know, give one-sided views to, and they would go up for it and agree with her. I think that's what she was doing. So she spent a few months on her Patreon, not reviewing episodes with Carlos, but doing it with several content creators who within the reality TV sector are big names. And I also feel like she was also using them for clout. She was trying to get some of their fan base to come over there to her Patreon to watch. And it kind of worked. So let me see who is going to be reviewing Married to Medicine with her when it airs. Because if not Carlos, it's going to be one of the content creators that she had on recently. Yeah, the videos don't lie. They were both being disrespectful towards her. And Carlos could be making that whole thing up. Now that we're talking about it, I'm thinking, I feel like this man is diabolical enough to sit on his platform and make that whole scenario up. It could have probably been a situation where they said hi to each other and that was it. And he added some sauce to it. That could be true too. Thank you, Jeanette. Sha, I was trying to ride for Shanita still, but now I'm like, for me now, it's like I am more so indifferent right now when it comes to that. I am a fan of Melody Shari first. Okay, first and foremost, I am a Melody Shari fan. And there are people who come around her who they may be offering something that I feel is valuable, right? I enjoyed learning about Dr. Shanita's work with UNICEF and the United Nations. I did. I liked her philanthropic journey because I'm on that same journey. So those things were valuable to me. It's because of Dr. Shanita, and I can say this publicly, it's because of Dr. Shanita and her ending period poverty in Ghana initiative, and how she went about doing it, that made me understand that I was overthinking. I was overthinking um how I wanted to go about my charitable organization. See, I thought that I had to like probably host events and do a whole bunch of things to get people to donate. And then when I realized that all she was doing was just asking for $5 towards helping to buy sanitary napkins for these, women and young girls in Ghana who don't have access to it, I was like, this is a great idea and it's a great initiative. And it's something that's always been near and dear to my heart to do. And so I was like, I go to Dollar Tree all the time. When I used to go on my breaks, I would go to Dollar Tree and I would see that they had these organic pads for $1. And I was like, okay, I can ask my subscribers to donate just $1 towards this initiative. And I can come to Dollar Tree every time I get a donation. I can come to Dollar Tree and buy one pad and add it to my pad, and then I can ship it off to Jamaica. And I was like, it's really that easy. So I thank her for, because of the work that she was doing, it made me see, you know, doing things like that in a different way, that I don't have to do the most. I don't have to go sit and plan events and stuff like that. I don't have to tell people to pull up to this location to drop off things. So I thank her for that. But now I'm just in this place of, whenever Melody introduces us to any of her friends, any of the people around her that she calls friends, I'm just gonna be like, okay, cool. I'm happy for you, Mel. But I'm not going to go on this journey anymore of following people, supporting what they got going on. Because when I get invested in people and then I see or hear them do something that I'm not in agreement with, it's like, ugh. And now you become content. It's like, this is just hard, and I don't want to feel like I am party to exposing anybody that's in Melody's life in terms of sharing my opinions on their behaviors, especially on social media. Because sometimes, right? Sometimes people are your friends, and when you are on the inside of a situation, you can't see clearly what's going on. But then there's somebody on the outside, they start pointing things out to you, and now they're pointing things out to you. And now the things that you weren't focused on before that were already there, now you start focusing on them. And then it's hard for you to get out of that space of seeing what everybody else is saying that they're seeing. And I think that's probably a hard place for Melody to be in when she actually loves and trusts the people who are in her inner circle. So I would just rather to not be invested in the other people who are part of Melody's circle and just continue to just be a fan of Melody and just leave it at that. Because there's too many people now, y'all, who I've had to be like, ugh. First it was Stormy, and some of us, when Stormy first came on the scene, we were going up for Stormy, and it took us a minute to realize that, wait a minute, did she just, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Is that shade? I'm probably reading too much into things. And then now so much has been revealed, and you're like, dang, I clocked it. I didn't want to believe it, but I did clock it. Right? Well, first it was Destiny, then Stormy, then well, I'm not gonna say that person's name. Just gonna leave it at that. I'm sure y'all know who I'm talking about. And then now we have Shanita. And it's like, we were rooting for you, we were all rooting for you, but now I gotta take a step back. And it's unfortunate because you're doing some good work. But I was introduced to you through the person who I'm a fan of, and that's Melody. So stepping back is just the choice that I'm going to make. If Melody introduces to somebody else, I'm gonna just be like, okay, cool, moving on. Mm. All right, Miss Mary. Have a good nap. Yeah, that's where I am. I don't dislike her. It's like I just, and I don't want to say I don't care. It's just I'm not feeding into that anymore. If she posts something and I see it and I'm interested in what she posted, I might look at it, I might like it, I might not. I'm just in between right now. I don't know what the only way I can describe what I'm feeling is I feel just indifferent to it all. Like, drive safely, DG. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. I believe Mel is going to end up producing another show, and he's shaking in his sparkling boot. Miss Mary. I mean, at this point, how many arrests has there been on Love Marriage Huntsville? There've been so many arrests attached to this show that at this point it needs to be called All the Lockups of Huntsville. Like, that's the show right now. And the truth is, if the production team was actually following the stories, the show would be a good show. I enjoy Love Marriage Huntsville on YouTube. The Love Marriage Huntsville that plays out on these YouTube streets is more engaging and more entertaining than what we're being shown. I want to see Marsaw and the pastor going at it on the show. I want to see Marsaw and Tisha and Marsaw and his brother talking about how the pastor and the church read them for filth and how they need to go apologize to the church. That would be entertaining because that's real life. That's really what's happening. I would rather see Destiny show us that she's trying to rebuild her life in an honest way rather than see her try to fake that her and Stormy are just the best of friends because she wants to get under Mel's skin when Mel does not care. Or that the storyline is, oh, Sunny is just the worst person in the world because she got with Moses. I want to see Tisha and Marsaw honestly talk about the things that they have dealt with in their marriage. It's not too late for them to come out and say, yes, we have dealt with infidelity in this marriage, but we have figured out a way to move past it. We figured out a way to move past it because we want to raise our children in a 2-parent household. We're in therapy, we're in marriage counseling, or we were in marriage counseling. This is how I felt when I found out that he was being unfaithful. This is how I felt when I was out there being unfaithful. And when my wife got to a point where she said she's done and she's not going to stick around, I realized that my family was going to be separated, and I didn't want that for my kids because I had to experience that as a little boy growing up, my mom and my dad divorcing, and it wasn't a great time for us as kids, and I don't want to see my children go through that. So I had to get it together, and I wish that Martell had done that. Yes, absolutely. I was out there doing things alongside Martell, and my wife knows this. But I got it together and I stopped because I didn't want to impact my children's life negatively. That would be a great storyline. But for whatever reason, they want, they don't want to show their real life. YouTube is doing a good job at showing their real life and the cracks in their story, but these people don't want to show their real life, and it's making the show boring. Miss Sugarsweet says, I'm cool, just supporting Melody, Miss Van, and the 4-piece nuggets, not others trying to grow their channel of Melody supporters. Yeah, I'm seeing a pattern, and one thing you're supposed to do when you start seeing patterns is you need to act accordingly. And so I'm seeing a pattern, and because of that, I'm just like, if I like somebody, it's not going to be on the strength of, oh, Melody is vouching for them. That's where I am with it. If I like somebody, it's not because Melody is vouching for them. If I happen to come across somebody and they just so happen to be Melody's friend too, then I'm going to continue to support that person because I was already following them before I realized that they were Mel's friend. Like the hair diagram lady, I don't remember her name, the one that has bold hold. Like, I watch her TikTok lives because she's on TikTok Shop, and she had a sale yesterday. with some of her new products. But I was following her before I knew that her and Melody were close. See what I'm saying? So me following her and her product line has nothing to do with Melody. Drew Sidora. I was already following Drew Sidora. I already liked Drew Sidora from Real Housewives of Atlanta before I even knew that her and Melody were cool. So that's where I am with it. I'm hopeful that I can, just come across people who are making good content or have good products or, whatever the case may be. And I'm following them only to find out later on that, oh, this is one of Melody's friends too. But it's no longer going to be, oh, I am for this person because I feel like they are for Melody. I'm done with doing that because it's not working out. It is not working out for us so far. It's not working out for us so far. We're here having to side eye too many people, child. It's too much. Yes, she was on TikTok live yesterday, selling the hole. She has a new product out, some gel or something. And the way she was laying down her wig with that product, it had me feeling like I could do it too. I was in that chat like, oh my God, this y'all making me feel like I could go buy a wig and lay it down myself. That's how great the product looked to me watching the live. And again, my support for her because I knew about her product before I knew that, she was cool with Melody or whatever. So if I found, and then another thing, I feel like I'm more supportive too of the people who are in Melody's circle who stay away from talking about her situation with Martell. I follow Lauren. Lauren ain't posted nothing about that. And I hope she continues to just mind her business in that way. Tamika, she's not talking about it. Brittany, not talking about it. Jay, we know whose side he is on, and he's forever going to be on that side, not talking about it. So it's like, Miss Dawn, not talking about it. Sean, not talking about it. There are Desiree not talking about it. Like there's so many people in Melody's circle who they're just in their lanes, doing their own thing, minding their business, doing the jobs that they're supposed to do. And they are not like on social media talking about anything that's happening in Melody's personal life. And I can respect that. And I can respect that. And I think anybody who she's going to introduce us to in the future as her friends, they need to learn from these other people. And if they're going to be in her close circle, they need to understand that there are just some things that they should just not bring to social media when it comes to Melody. And that they need to understand if they're going to feed into, talking to her fan base, if they're going to feed into talking to her fan base, then there's a lot of responsibility that also comes with that. If people are going to be following you and buying into whatever you're offering on the strength of you are for Melody. I think they need to understand that. And I think when they understand that, then they will also be able to move accordingly. But anyways, y'all, that is what I came to talk about. I came to just highlight, some of Carlos's mixed signaling when he talked about, loving Melody, having love for Melody, how much she's a star, she is Huntsville. I felt like he had some doubts there. I don't think he is 100% sure that he and Melody are good, but that is the story he is sticking to. I feel like the person that Carlos claims apologized to him on Sunday night is Shanita. I could be wrong, but I think as the days and weeks go by, we are going to find out for 100% certainty that it was actually Shanita. And y'all, I have a special announcement to make. Stay tuned. I don't know if it's going to be tonight yet because we still have some things to finalize. I don't know if it's going to be tonight or maybe tomorrow. Could also be Friday. But sometime this week, I will be going live with an entertainment lawyer who we are going to discuss reality TV contracts, and especially reality TV contracts as it relates to a cast member who is an EP, and how said cast member or former cast members can gain some power back. How this lawyer would probably discuss with their client how to get some power back if they, if they were the ones who indeed pitched the show, helped with casting and all of that. We know Mariah Huck, she pitched Married to Medicine. She pitched Married to Medicine, and then she was forced out as a cast member, and we haven't seen her back on her show, even though she has an EP and a creator credit. And then we also know that Melody Shari, she pitched a version of Love and Marriage Hunt, a version of a show that became Love and Marriage Huntsville. She helped with the casting, and she's still helping with the casting. So as a entertainment attorney who deals with contracts, who understands a little bit of reality TV and reality TV contracts, we're going to have a discussion about how people like Melody and Mariah can regain some control over their shows. We're going to talk about if it's even possible. If it's even possible, will it require a court trial? Would it require mediation? How would a lawyer argue a case like this for a client like Melody and Mariah? So I'm excited. I reached out to this person on Instagram, this attorney on Instagram, because I've been following their content for a while now. And I was so excited when they were like, yes, let's do it. So we're still talking through some things. Love and Marriage Huntsville, even Married to Medicine in this entire situation, it's a little nuanced, right? There's so much to it. And because this person isn't familiar with any of these things, I'm basically like giving them the rundown so that they can get their notes together and we can have a great discussion. And I also have another guest who is a psychologist and a life coach. And it's not going to be this, I don't know if it's going to be this month yet. We're still ironing out some things, but y'all know what she's going to come on here to talk about: the dynamics of a life coach and a client being on YouTube. And the funny thing about this person is that when we were emailing back and forth, and then I finally explained like why I wanted to have this conversation. And I mentioned Love and Marriage Huntsville. She was like, "Oh, I know of that show." So I don't know if she's been able to yet, but I've been sending her the links to Dion's and Destiny's Messy Mental Health Mondays. And I haven't given her any context whatsoever. I just said, watch the clip. Just watch the episode for yourself and then form your own opinions, and then we will be able to discuss based on that. But I told her that this person is a therapist and has stated that she is still very much Destiny's life coach. So that's the only context I gave her. The only context, right? The only context I gave her. So whenever she gets a chance, y'all, to watch even some of the episodes to form her opinion so that we can chat on live about some stuff, we are going to do it. But I'm excited. I'm excited. And I can't wait. I can't wait to have these discussions, y'all. I can't wait. So anyways, thank y'all for listening. If right, lady four, I like y'all don't even know. Like I have been putting myself out there, sliding into DMs. Sliding into DMs. Oh, let me whisper something to y'all. I slid into the DMs of Linda Sanders. And she told me to send her my questions. Now, she hasn't responded yet, but I did do a follow-up DM yesterday. So I'm about to log off and check to see if she has responded to my question. And if she has, y'all, I'm going to go live later with the story that I promised y'all that I have on some business dealings of Marta Holt. Don't tell anybody else. So look out for that too. Because I've been holding on to this for a few weeks now. A few weeks I've been holding on to this story because I wanted to be able to verify some information. But I promise y'all, if this lady responds to my questions today, I'm hitting this live button and we are going to talk about some things. Because the information I got about some of his dealings, some of his business dealings, they are so juicy, y'all. They're so juicy. So look out for that. So look out for those two interviews and then my little accurate context on Martel and some of his business dealings. Okay. So until later, I'll see y'all in these YouTube streets. Walk good. Bye.